Hey everyone, it's Danny with Stuff I Kind of Care About. Hey Wes, how are you? I have a new setup. It probably looks pretty different because I'm standing, not sitting. I built a new workbench and I'm absolutely loving the thing. I'm still getting used to it, but that's not why we're here tonight. We're here tonight because Scrafted, what's up? Who is Scrafted? Do I know you personally? Um, and also prepare to be underwhelmed. Um, so I got this. I've wanted to build a ballista for a while. I got this idea from Andy Elliott Craft and Creations. There's a link to his video in the description of this. It's like a 5 minute, like, boom, bam, bam. This is how you make the thing. And his is really good. I have not asked for permission to do this, kind of loosely based on his concept. So if for some reason you end up watching this, please don't hate me. I'm going crazy during this quarantine. Um, yes. What up, Clint? Wes, I'm glad you're doing swimmingly. I'm going to try to be pretty active in the chat, so this may take a little while. And I'm going to go ahead and swap over the cameras so you can see my work surface setup. And you'll still see me in the top right of your screen. Hooray! Um, so the whole concept of this thing, um, the the man that originally did this did it with hot glue. I don't have a hot glue gun, so I'm going to be using uh, two-part quick epoxy. So that'll be simple, super simple. The main materials you're going to need are popsicle sticks, a piece of clothespin, um, which you'll see why in a little bit. I may actually try to use this instead of the clothespin, and I'll show you why. And then other stuff like string and things. I happen from one of my other dollar store builds to have this hanging around, and I kind of want to make the top of my ballista out of this piece. I think it's really cool. Um, and so we're going to kind of get to it. I'm going to be mixing up several different batches of epoxy, and I'm going to be using these small popsicle sticks for that. Um, I just don't want to overdo it on the epoxy at any given point. And so we're going to do a few small batches because this stuff does have like a 5 minute cure time, which is awesome. So Clint, I had a hot glue gun and it disappeared in my most recent move. That's how I can be crafty and not have a hot glue gun. Um, and I just haven't replaced it because I switched over to starting to use a lot more epoxy for my builds. I wasn't really doing anything that was going for hot glue, so it's been very convenient for me. Um, oh no, Wes, I'm so sorry. Oh, sweet. Also, if you do give me a hot glue gun, thank you. So this is going to get probably a lot messier than I should allow it to get because epoxy generally doesn't like to behave. Um, and I'm just taking two of these and putting them together to create a more stable thing that I'll come back to in a minute. Okay. That's about as good as it gets. I'm going to have so much epoxy on my hands. That's awesome. Who needs hands? The other thing that I'm going to do is I have these two small little blocks of wood, and I'm going to use these on here to kind of separate the top and bottom layers of the body of this so that they don't get so that there's room for the darts to come through. And this doesn't have to be the most precise thing you've ever done with your life. The original video has a lot of it's like, hey, you should drill all of these holes before you glue things up. I'm actually going to glue things up and then drill holes because I would rather have all of my holes go straight through, and I'm going to be obsessive about it. Both ways are fine. If you're using a hot glue gun, it would actually be better to do it previous to gluing, because hot glue, once it's set, if you put too much strain on it, it will just crack loose. Wes, you bought it because you needed it one time and haven't touched it since. I will absolutely help you with that problem, Wes. I would love to help you get rid of the hot glue gun that you have that you don't use. So, we're just going to paint some epoxy on here. And not get it all over my workbench or my cutting mat. And then I'm just going to kind of attempt to center this. Okay, and we're going to set this to the side and let it dry. Should take about 5 minutes for it to cure. In the meantime, we're going to start building the sled upon which these darts fly. So, that'll be fun. Hooray! Everybody talk more. I'm so lonely in quarantine. I miss seeing all of your beautiful faces and being able to actually go out. Not like I ever went out before, but I miss being able to. And yeah, I'm using an egregious amount of epoxy. I've had these tubes for a while, so they're probably close to death. So I'm not really worried too much about overdoing it. It is what it is. Okay. So this piece is eventually going to get glued in here. But before we do that, we've got to make some rails for this thing. You know what? I should glove up for this. Clint, have a great night. Thank you for stopping by. Wes, you're having a gathering of more than 3? That's dangerous. Oh, Jim, Jack, and Jose. You weenie. Enjoy it. Try not to get too stupid. Bought these gloves and they're just not quite big enough, but we'll make them work for this. All right. So that's too long. Oh well. What do I need to take off? About an inch? Probably about 3/4 of an inch. We'll do this one right, and then I'll trim that one down once it's set up. Oh, Wes, you do need to sterilize your blood. Oh, this is just messy. I immediately regret using epoxy. I've done some really dumb things with my life. This is indeed one of them. But it's okay. Once it's dry, this thing will literally never move again. Which is cool. Um, I think I should give that one more layer. I don't actually know what I'm doing. I watched this dude's video and was like, yeah, that's cool. I'm probably going to need these little pieces eventually. All right. Yeah, sure. This will work. So what's everybody been up to in quarantine? What have you been doing? Tell me about what life is like for you, please. I have 3 whole people in here. That's exciting. Oh, I'm going to have so much epoxy on my workbench. So Scrafted, yes, I absolutely am gonna be doing a trebuchet eventually. Um, I would love to do an actually like decent sized one. I don't think I've got the stuff here for it, and I really would rather not run out because the longer we all run out for things, the longer we're all gonna have to kind of stay in. So my goal is to make it 2 weeks without actually leaving my apartment, which is, let me tell you, that is not what I wanted to have to sign up for. Um, but trebuchet is absolutely. Do you see how gross this looks? That looks so bad. Ugh. I'm sorry, folks. I'm really not awesome at this. Um, Wes, I know you're not quarantined. Scrafted, you're working. I'm sorry. Sorry you have to be out with all of the idiots. Same to you, Wes. Austin, what's up, dude? You got addicted to Warcraft again. I'm so proud of you. And that just flew into the corner of my workroom, never to be found again. Okay. So while this thing dries, that's sure that's my sled. How are you doing? You are very, very, very close. Cool. The next piece I'm going to work on is probably this one. I'm going to drill a small hole in it. And you'll see why eventually. That's going to be for the catch pin. So I'm actually going to make myself a small catch pin to be able to release this thing, and I'm excited about it. So this is going to draw back on the sled like this. The bolt is going to rest in front of it. The string is going to go through here. The next thing I have to do is I have to start getting these limbs ready, and I'm going to use one of these Fat Boy sticks and a pencil that I have curiously misplaced. Wow. I'm not great at this today, folks. Really not great at this. Use a Sharpie, because that's better. Yeah, that's acceptable, Wes. Scrafted, I'm sorry. I wish you didn't. I wish you could. I wish all of us could still have horrific amounts of money pouring in, and none of us have to work. Um, yes, we absolutely should hang out when all this is over. Message me. I still don't actually know who you are in real life. Sorry. I'm I'm bad at everything that I do with my life. Um, Austin, yes, we should hang out. And Wes, I know, no more going to the bar. I'm sorry. Um, these limbs are close to equal. They're about as close to equal as we're going to get. I'm going to drill a hole through them for the actual string itself. That one just cracked. So, I'm going to take one of these other half pieces that I've got and line that up and get that hole drilled. Cool. So these are going to be our limbs for this bow, or ballista. And what we're going to do is pretty simple. So I'm going to be drilling from the bottom, and I want to do 2 holes. So the first hole I'm going to do is going to be right next to the peg. And we're going to punch through from this side just to make sure everything's clean. As clean as it can be. I have sandpaper hanging around here somewhere I should probably be using, but I'm not gonna, because I'm stubborn. And then the next hole that we're going to be drilling is going to be slightly larger, and that's going to be the hole for our cord, which is actually what we're going to be using to power these limbs. Ew. Gross. Plywood. Cool. That looks horrible. I'm super proud of it. So, this is a thing. All right. So, what's going to end up happening is we're going to pass this through here. Come along, children. And then back through. There we go. All right. And we're going to be using 1-inch segments of this stuff right here as pegs to hold it. And it doesn't have to be precisely inch. I'm just using end cutters to cut these because they're super fast and convenient. Well, that one's gone. So let's do another one. Sorry this isn't the most exciting thing in the world. I thought it would be a lot more fun. I was wrong. So, essentially, we're going to loop this through here. And then we're going to cut this. Wow, those scissors are dull. I will need this melted down for nefarious purposes. And then this one's going to get tied around another one of these sticks. If I can get this thing to cooperate. Good. You can still see what's happening. And these knots with this nylon twine don't like to hold, so I'm just going to super glue it in place. Oh no. It's actually fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the other side. You're probably wondering, Danny, why the second hole? The second hole is going to be for a piece of this wooden dowel that we're going to use to brace once these are tensioned up. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to spin this and create tension once my limb is in here. Right? And then we're going to spin it anti-clockwise and create tension so that once it's fully tensioned, oh no. Oh no. It broke. That's cool, bro. I'm not mad about that. Quick thinking leads me to believe I have an answer for this. I'm going to need some of this stuff anyway. So oh man. Let's also make these an inch long, and I have a doubt that I'm going to be able to cut this spring steel properly. How long have I been doing this? 25 minutes. I feel like that's way too long. I don't know how people are still paying attention. And I'm going to save this because this is probably going to be the pin that you pull to fire it. Oh no. Austin, I was just, if you're still here, I was just talking with uh, Taylor the other day about our old campaign and how much freaking fun that was. And that last session where it basically turned into all of you trying to defend yourselves on counts of heresy, which were pretty true. Not gonna lie. I don't want this to go this way though, because this is the top. I want this to be so. Sorry. I told you this thing was going to be disappointing. And I didn't lie. I just want to hide that knot underneath this thing so it looks less like a complete noob made it. Wes, you have a project idea for me. Let's hear it. You know I love project ideas. All right, round 2. Little dab of the old super glue. Let's hope it holds. If it doesn't, oh well, I tried, right? PVC recurve bows. So, Wes, to be totally honest with you, man, I just botched that. Like a noob. Wes, to be totally honest with you, there are a ton of really, really good PVC recurve bows on YouTube already. And I don't know enough about it to do something new or innovative to like really add to the conversation. And so I feel like it would just not be the coolest thing ever. I'm also like not hugely into archery anymore. Like I sold my bow and all that jazz just because it wasn't really what I was feeling anymore. All right. I feel like that's better. Sure. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. I don't. But anyways, Wes, that's like my short answer to your idea. I love the thought of that. I love when you folks give me suggestions for content, although it sadly doesn't happen super often. The issue is A, severely lacking in space, and B, I don't feel like I could do it in a way that would bring anything original to the conversation. and that would be a disservice to some of the other people who have done really, really good PVC recurve bows. All right, so that's that. What I'm gonna need is a piece of this. It's gonna stick out about that far on both sides. I'm gonna have so much cleaning up to do after this build. Just little chunks of wood have flown all over my makerspace. There. I absorbed it with my belly. I knew it was good for something. So I'm not actually going to tension up these limbs yet. Firstly, I'm going to mix up some more epoxy. Just literally like a wee bit. And I'm going to get this centerpiece in place that I horrifically glued up. I am just doing a killer job of getting this straight and lined up properly. Watch me work, right? Well, Wes, you're not wrong. Um, Holy smokes. This, folks, is why I don't do a ton with this epoxy. Is it's a bit of a pain to try to wrangle. I have it all over the place now. And I'm just going to have to stand here for a couple of minutes while this sets, which is super fun for you, the viewer. Wes, in answer to me making them without having any experience, you're right, and it's something that I'll look into. Unfortunately, right now, with quarantine, I'm not looking to leave the apartment for any reason other than bare minimum. Um, you know, my check tire level light was on today, so I had to go to Discount Tire and get them to service my whole valve stem was just garbage. So I'm really trying to do nothing other than that. I had to run out today. I did that while I was out today going over to my friend's house to drop off. He's been 3D printing the holders for face shields, so that we can distribute them to a bunch of local healthcare workers. And so I was getting the holes cut in the transparency film that we're using as the actual shield itself for him today. So we got 40 ready to go out today to healthcare workers, which is really cool, and I'm really excited about that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully that's helpful to the medical community around. I'm having severe doubts about this damn Ballista. This thing is The King of Jank. It still has work time. So I'm actually going to drop a little bit more fresh epoxy in there because more glue is always the answer, right? Right, folks? Oh, okay. At some point in the future, I will absolutely look into doing that. Um, I've got a couple of really awesome projects coming up. As soon as we're out of quarantine, I'm going to be hitting up a couple of my friends that are blacksmiths and doing some videos with them. Probably doing some live streams with them, to be honest with you. Just to have the pleasure of swinging a hammer live with somebody and just make something stupid like an oyster shucker or a really quick um, bottle opener or something. I'm completely sick of this right here. Why didn't I do hot glue, Wes? Austin, why did you let me do this way? Why didn't you tell me to use hot glue? Make this everybody's fault but my own, dumbass. It's telling me I have 0 viewers right now. Must be doing something right. It's all this thrilling quarantine content I'm putting out. Promise next week I'm not doing a live video. I'm gonna just do a normal build, shoot, and edit it down so that it's not 45 minutes of me being an idiot with epoxy. Okay, that's starting to set up, which is fantastic news. So we're going to leave that and let it sit there. This is ready. The next thing that I've got to do is get 2 of these and 2 of these and see if these are the perfect width. I should have already glued these. I'm an idiot. Let's see if that'll work. Probably not. Wes is still here. Thank you, Wes. At least you love me. I know everybody else loves me. It was a joke. Sorry, it was in poor taste. Yay for epoxy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread that out and let that cure for a few seconds while I figure out exactly how much of this I'm going to need. Cool. We're going to go back to my smaller drill bit. Wes is watching while heading home. That's fantastic. Okay. Now that that's done, the real question is, if I have this all together, what level is it at? I'm gonna have sawdust everywhere. Okay. Please be approaching a level of dryness that I need you to be at. I know I'm really bad at the whole talking while doing work, that I'm concentrating doing thing. I'm just gonna stop doing live videos until I'm good at this. What up, BatK27T? I haven't decided yet. What do you want me to shoot this at? And not my eyeballs. And I like my eyeballs, so. Not that you would tell me to shoot at my eyes, but just wanted to go ahead and tell everybody that that's not on the menu. Okay. Sit, stay. This thing's gonna look so janky. Also, thanks for showing up. So, now that this is done like this, I've got limbs, which is cool. I've got string that I'm going to be using for the limbs and for this guy, which is going to basically act as the thing that pushes the projectile to the fore. And these are actually about the perfect length. I'm just going to put a little bit of a tip on them. Because who doesn't want to shoot sharpened stakes out of a tiny little wooden contraption? I've been wanting to do this my whole life. How many pieces of ammo should I have? Do we feel like 5 is an appropriate number? There we go. Yeah, I'm going to have 5. This makes me want to build an actual full-sized ballista. So maybe if we don't die in the plague or the apocalypse, or, you know, the old gods being reborn during 2020, which I'm still convinced is probably going to happen, I will build a for real ballista. And that's what this is practice for. Why not build a scaled down model so that you know what you're doing? Okay, I have my ammo. I have a very messy workbench. It's been 45 minutes. I'm so sorry that it's taking this long. Dry epoxy. This is why I should be using hot glue instead of epoxy, Wes. I need to get at you on that hot glue gun when we can go and do things again. Back K270, how is everything where you are? Are you surviving all right? Are you taking care of yourself? I've got all this stuff that I'm doing personally, which is super fun and it's helping me stay sane. But honestly, the hardest part of all of this is worrying about my friends, worrying about, you know, the people that I care about, because so many of us are out of work. I haven't worked in 3 weeks. I'm not going crazy. You're going crazy. Um, I love 5 minute epoxy so much. It's so amazing. It's one of my favorite things ever. Um, this is very close to being set. That means that I'll be able to put in the limbs. I'll be able to tension them. Once they're tensioned, I'll be able to string the thing, put what is essentially the nut in place, and then please tell me I did this properly. Yes. And then I've got a pull pin to let this thing fire so that it can actually be safe. Well, dangerous. What do we got? Yeah, no, Wes, I'm not going to be coming over in the next week or two because you may have been exposed. So that's scary. Heck yeah, man. What kind of truck? What work you doing? I know next to nothing about automobiles, so that's an appropriate question for me to ask, right? Okay. I think everything's kind of set enough for me to start the process of getting these limbs settled. We're going to give them a good 1/4 inch of clearance. And then we're going to put this peg Wes, I very much appreciate that. Please don't die. We actually like you. Some of us actually love you. Imagine that. This is super annoying. Okay. So, please. Ha! It looks like it's working. Okay, cool. No. The limb dropped out. There we go. Oh, I totally did this wrong. Totally did this wrong. Doing an engine swap, putting a much newer fuel injection into your old Blazer. Heck yeah. Heck yes. That's amazing. I don't know anything about cars, but I really like Blazers. Like, I can tell you where the engine is and like where the radiator is, and that's about the extent. Oh, and the battery. But other than that, that's about the extent of my knowledge on cars. And I would love to come check it out. This is just tragic. Let's see if we can just rip this thing out of here. There we go. Okay. Two twists there. Two twists there. I can use this to just hold it in place. I don't need that one there. So all I'm doing is giving this thing some working tension in the hopes that this is, yeah, that's good. It looks like 3 twists is going to be my magic number, which is cool. Oh no, you're relocating the battery. I'm lost now. I will have no clue how to do anything. Um, once you move anything in the engine bay, I'm out. I'm done. I have met my quota of I don't know what's happening. Cool. All right. And so that post there keeps these bars in place so that now I have a really nice tension on that, which is really cool. And so I've got to do the exact same thing for the other side. We're going to pop this in here to hold this. I'm going to pop this in here to hold this. While I suddenly freak out about the fact that I'm supposed to have one of these cut to size, and I don't. So I'm now doing everything backwards. All right, let's double check and make sure that's about the same. That is considerably more tension. So we're going to crank that off a notch. And that's about equal. I think I accidentally went 4 turns with the bottom instead of the required 5. Man, I don't know what I would have done without having these pieces of spring steel around. This has been amazing to have those things. All right, so now what happens is this gets pulled through here. We're going to get a knot in the end of it. I'm going to double that up, and then I'm going to melt it down to make sure that it's not going anywhere. Good. Now, we're going to take this through here. I'm going to go through the small hole just because why not? Why not? Because it's a nut. Get it, folks? I'm really horrible at everything. Okay. Now, I'm going to mark where this is with a Sharpie. I'm actually going to pre-tension this a little bit. This is the point where you get to see how much I have a lack of coordination. All right. So it's lightly tensioned. Let's see if this thing works. So it does not draw. That would have been class if it had just exploded. It's catching on. Let's not cut straight towards ourselves, Danny. It's a little better. You want to see if it works? Yeah, you finally got the saddlebags mounted. I'm so excited for you. Okay. So, the first fire. Oh, wait, I can fire multiple. Let's try one first. All right. So, let's take bets on what it's going to do. Will it A, explode into tiny pieces? B, actually fire a projectile decently well? Or C, just bung it up and not work at all? And I'm going to wait a minute to see what everybody says. Let's see. I think there's a delay in the video to the chat because I'm getting nothing. Either that or you guys just don't care, which is also an incredibly viable option. Oh, I miss Derek too. All right, I'm going to fire this thing at that pile of leather because I want to know what happens. It worked. I mean, not well. I was also kind of hoping for an explosion. But it works, and now I know how to build a ballista. At least in theory. Um, I want to see what happens when I completely load this thing up with these delicious, delicious darts. Can I fit 4 in here? I mean, I can fit all 5. Like, they can just sit on top of each other. That's not an issue. Yeah, they can. Okay. So, pepperbox style. Let's see what happens. That was the that was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever experienced. I don't know where the 5th one went. It's probably in the garbage where it belongs. All right. Well, that was fun. It was interesting. Sorry it was such a flop and it took so long to do. I'm going crazy on this quarantine, so I'm trying to do things to keep my brain meats active. Thanks for stopping by. If you actually want to see how to make this thing in a timely manner, the video that I got the inspiration from is linked in the description to this video, and it's actually a really rad channel. That dude makes some really cool stuff, so you could go check him out, give him some love. Um, Other than that, thanks for hanging out with me and helping me be a nerd. You're all awesome. Hopefully, we're all going to get through this and come out the other side and be better people. Catch you folks later.